Oh, here I got a question. How long does it take for you guys to build a model? Well, you want to, why don't you start off and say how we got going on this, Eric?
Well, this particular model, I'd gotten the Helldiver kit from Aurora a while ago, and thought it was a pretty good looking kit. And in comparison to other Aurora kits, especially from the time period of when this kit came out in 1955, all the other Aurora kits were extremely simplistic. Maybe 10 parts. On the high end, and then later on they started adding some rockets, on it, and so this was a pretty sophisticated kit with having movable parts, movable, control surfaces, actual cockpit with details in it, instrument panel, radios, some good-looking pilots, just really nice. It still had, some heavy rivet detail and molded on markings, but it just, it looked like it was a really good kit. And so I'd wanted it, found one, I've ended up actually with 4 of them now. Because you would come across them and, I want to build it, and I'm going to build, multiples of this because it's such a cool kit and all that. Well, then I tried to build it, and that's a whole nother story. Going off of other kits of this era that like a monogram kit from around this period, they go together pretty well, and a lot of the other Aurora kits go together pretty quickly because they're so simple. This is not a simple kit. And it was very much a challenge on multiple levels. The fit itself is not terrible as far as how well the parts fit, but it certainly isn't as good as others. The instructions, of course, are terrible. They're indicative of the time period and of other kits, in that they go with like the exploded view, and then down the side is all the steps, and these parts aren't numbered either, and as you can see, there's a lot of parts that are kind of similar to each other. Struts and all that kind of stuff. So following along with this instructions, this has got 44 steps, on it, and within each one there's multiple steps even within each one of those. So it's a very sophisticated kit for its time, but not a very well engineered kit. So that resulted in a lot of challenges putting this thing together and trying to get things to fit the way that they did. For example, the movable tail surfaces on it, the elevators are one piece, so there's a rod going between these two sides here, and the way to get it on there is you have to put one tail surface on. It's got a pin in it. You stick this in to that pin, or put the pin into a little hole in there, and then bring it around, and then attach the other stabilizer onto this side while holding the elevators in place, and the fit isn't very good because there's a bar that runs in between those, and that bar pushes up against the fuselage. So
Right.
so there's pressure. In order to get it to fit, that pressure, you have to bend it slightly forward in order to get it to fit. And while you're trying to glue on another part. Now, if you were using regular tube glue, that takes forever to set. And when you've got something that's under tension, it's not going to work.
No.
You got to be sitting there holding it for an hour before it's going to set enough that it's not going to want to pull itself apart. And so because of that, like this particular kit here, posed a lot of challenges. Some of it has to do with the design of the kit. Some of it has to do with the aircraft itself. So this ended up, taking me, I want to say probably about 40 hours at least, maybe even a little more.
Yeah, that's about what I spent on mine too. That's why we gave us a month. We had other things to do between,
Yeah.
Eric does and what I do. We had to fit this in where we could do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, and when I was guesstimating, because I still work full time and I got other stuff that I got going on in my life and all that stuff. So, yeah, I was thinking this is going to be like a 10-hour kit. So that's why I was like, oh, yeah, I can squeeze that in. We can get it done by the end of April, no problem. And then I start working on it and I'm just like, oh, man, this is not going together. And, then I wanted to really do it up nice and really take my time, painting stuff correctly. So it ended up not being as easy as I thought, and that definitely contributed to us having to push this off almost another month to get this going. So
Yeah.
so I guess we can do our big reveals. So
Here we go. I don't know, for some reason mine's a little fuzzy on this end. I don't know why. But what brought this on is Eric had found this estate sale and he sent me the info. And so I went to it and I found all these models. They had a whole bunch of Aurora models. This was one of the ones. And after I got it, Eric said, well, let's do a comparison build. And this estate sale, it didn't have decals. They didn't have instructions. Thank goodness for ScaleMates. We could download instructions if they have them on there. And since I didn't have the decals, I thought I was going to go with something different. And I did one of the ones from Marine Squadron 2. And so I had one picture. And so I thought, okay, well, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to just make mine after the Marine Corps one. I probably spent more time on the cockpit and painting the pilots than I have on anything else. And I don't know, this thing probably doesn't show them that well, but I really am happy with how them turned out. Yours did too,
Yeah, they're very nice pilot figures, and what's really cool about them is that they're both different. So
yeah, they are.
When you get multi-seat aircraft, they just it's the same pilot figure over and over and over. But these are specific to this aircraft, and their flight gear is actually pretty accurate for interwar Navy. So it's pretty nice. And incidentally, the kit's listed as quarter scale on the box, but it's not quarter scale. It's much larger than quarter scale. It scales out to be about 1/42. So that also made a challenge if we wanted to put in other markings. There are a couple of companies that make secondary market decals, Yellow Wings in particular, which is fantastic for interwar and early war U.S. Navy stuff. And they do make a whole range of decals for the SBC. but they're all in or in 148 scale, so they're all too small, for this. It's not like 148 to 150. 142nd is significantly different than a 48 scale. So those markings were all way too small.
What I did is I took the I think it was on ScaleMates. They had a picture of the decal sheet. Of course, it was yellow.
Yeah.
So I scanned it. I didn't scan it. I downloaded it to the computer, and I made my own. I recolored the roundels, and I took the U.S. Navy and made it U.S. Marines,
Mm-hmm.
and I just made my own decals for it because it was the very same thing. I did actually look at. I had Atlantis's Jenny. I had an extra set of decals for that, and I said,
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
use these. No, they were too big for it.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. A lot of these kits, from this time period, even though they be, quoting a scale, a lot of times they were not really that scale. That of course, you had Revell that was just totally in bed with box scale as their standard, and
Mm-hmm.
resisting going to standardized scale, until like the mid 60s before they really started accepting standardized scales. Revell or Monogram, kind of went pretty quickly. Hawk did a pretty good job of getting to standardized scaling pretty quickly. But Aurora, not so much. And
Well, they did on their boxes. They changed their boxes so that it would reflect that.
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. It's a lot of times where a kit suddenly changes scale with the next boxing. Yeah, a lot of the 60s Japanese kits, that were made in these off scales like 175th and 150th and 170th. Eventually when they got other boxings later on, they suddenly changed scales to what had now become a standardized scale.
Did you run into the same thing? When I was a kid, I got into 148 scale, and I thought, all my models are going to be 148 scale because I wanted them to all kind of look the same.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, Aurora, blew that up, but I still wanted the aircraft. So that's kind of what ventured me into it. And then 172nd scale, there was some stuff that was in 172nd scale that you couldn't get in any other scale at the time.
Yeah.
So I guess I varied, but I tried to stay to the 148th because I really liked working with that scale, and
Yeah.
models would actually fit in my bedroom better than the other things.
Yeah, when I was building, the 70s, when I started, I was playing with my models, there, because they're really, the 70s, after Vietnam, there really wasn't a lot of, military toys, because the anti-Vietnam stuff.
Right.
There really wasn't a lot of really good military toys, and I wanted to, fly airplanes in the backyard, so I was building a lot of 72nd scale stuff. So again, kind of keeping it with one size, so that way when I was doing my backyard battles, they were relatively consistent. Then I got boxes of Airfix soldiers, and a few other companies. Matchbox made some. Atlantic. There's a couple other companies that made little soldiers. So it's all kind of keeping it a similar scale to play around in the backyard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did build the occasional quarter scale stuff. The Monogram Navy series.
Oh, I love those.
Those were fantastic, man. You can dive bomb stuff with the Helldiver and the Dauntless, and man, I love those kits. And
I think I made every one of the Navy ones, and then I would wait in anticipation for the new one to come out because you would see the ads, catalog, and it'd be like, okay, when's it going to come to the hardware store?
Yeah. Yeah, the only one I didn't make was the Wildcat, and I think the reason for that was because the box on the Wildcat really didn't make reference to the fact that it had movable parts.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I thought it was just a plain Wildcat model, so I never got it. But sure enough, it's got folding wings and moving parts and stuff on it. So, I've gotten one, a couple of them since. So that's going to be one that I'm going to build. I did the Hellcat. I rebuilt the Hellcat, about a year ago or so, and really enjoyed, putting that together again. And I think after the horror story of this Aurora here, I think I might have to clean my palette with a monogram Navy kit, because those always bring so much joy. But anyway, well, aside from all the various problems, the biggest problem I had of all of it was the top wing. The Helldiver has got only a single interplane strut on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
Got two sets of cabin struts, in here, and so the traditional ways of assembling, a biplane don't quite fit. And then on top of that, it's got this ridiculous stagger between, the front and rear wing. So it's probably a more than 50% stagger on it. And so it just made for one hell of a wing assembly. I tried so many different ways, so many different approaches. Frankie Day, built one of these as well. We were hoping to get him on this live stream, but I asked him, how he was doing it, because he's been building models for 70 years. So I tried following his guideline on it, and it just didn't work. You got to have a certain amount of dihedral on these bottom wings, which of course, there's a lot of slop in them. At first, I probably over dihedraled them. So then the single strut here was pushing this top wing too high for the interplane struts to fit.
Right.
It was just a nightmare. And in fact, it's still not right. If you look at it, I don't know how well you can see, the top wings, got the wrong camber to it.
I think I've got the same issue.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's an inherent problem with the kit. But the interplane struts or the cabane struts don't seem to quite be long enough or fit correctly. I don't know.
Yeah, I noticed that too. They seemed a little short.
Yeah, they're like the front ones are a little too long and the rear ones are a little too short.
Yeah.
And I thought, maybe do I have them on the wrong side? Do I have them upside down? And it's the instructions are not very clear as to which side goes which way. So I test fitted it, both ways, swapped side to side, tried so many different ways, combinations to see how to get it to work, but
right,
just nothing would work. And then of course, typically when I'm doing this, I'm using tube glue, because tube glue gives you a little bit of time to kind of jockey stuff around a bit. And because of the fact that it's only got the single interplane strut, I had to sit there for an hour waiting for the thing to dry enough. So I spent probably almost 6-7 hours on trying to get these damn wings worked out right. Mix in there walking away and a lot of profanity. And
well, that goes hand in hand with it.
I rarely ever really get mad at a model, and I've never actually destroyed a model through frustration. But I got to tell you, I came very close to throwing this thing up against that in and out sign behind me.
Yeah, I know. You can send me a text and tell me that you're at that point.
This was very much a challenge, and on top of that, not only just the frustration of trying to get this top wing working, but I'd done such a good job on the paint job. I did different colors of aluminum.
Looks really nice.
I did a different color of aluminum for the wings to represent the fabric covered part, and then I used aluminum silver paint, for the metal covered parts. and all that got ruined with how much manhandling I had to do on this thing, how much glue got dripped everywhere. Just, so I've gone back and touched up as best as I can, but hand brushing is different than spray painting. But overall, you know, if I don't look from the bottom, where you can really see how bad the glue points are and stuff,
Yeah.
kind of from the top down, it's not, it still looks pretty good. Uh, but man, that was a pain. This landing gear, the way that they've got it set up is actually not too bad, but it's really weak at the
It's very
wheel.
weak.
The this part, or the main part, actually goes into a real strong assembly in here, but the actual attachment of the wheels onto there, it's just a tiny little nut. It's not an axle, it's just a little nut. And a lot of this plane ultimately ended up being assembled with CA glue, because the fit is so bad. That I ended up using a lot of CA glue to get this, especially the top wing. Ultimately, I had to go to CA glue and just force parts together, and it's still not quite. They're still not quite angled right. But I can't imagine that a kid in 1955 building this with tube testers could have got this thing together at all.
Well, no, and I ended up using testers glue. I asked you, I said, what do you think about using this? Because that's what I was thinking, because it wasn't working for me any other way.
Yeah.
And I kind of jury rigged. I couldn't use a regular clamp. I tried using one of my big clamps, and I could tell it was going to bust the struts.
Yeah.
So I kind of
that's the other thing too, is these struts are not strong at all. They're actually fairly accurate scale wise, which is surprising for Aurora. But it makes it so that you can't put hardly any pressure on this.
No, I know, and it's so I used a combination of Tamiya masking tape and some little bottles of brush paint sitting on the wings. I did all kinds of stuff to kind of put it in a place where it would dry, and I then walked away.
Yeah, that's so. Unfortunately, a lot of the special painting that I was doing kind of got lost. But I was surprised with the decals. The decal set that came with one of the kits that I had was in pretty good shape. It's still, Aurora kits are notorious for the decals curling up over the years.
Mm-hmm.
This one had a fairly flat decal sheet that looked in pretty good shape. It was pretty yellowed, but it wasn't brown like some of them can turn. So I sat that one out in the sun for a couple of weeks, while I was working on the kit, just putting it on the dashboard of my car when I go to work. And the sun did a pretty good job of taking out, I'd say, about 90% of the yellowing that had happened. So there's still a little bit of yellowing. So the other thing I was concerned about, whether or not these are going to disintegrate once they hit water, and I was trying to do something with them. So I tested one on the stand, the triangle that goes on the stand.
Oh yeah,
and it didn't disintegrate. It was difficult to get it off of the
nice,
off the backing. I soaked them for quite a while, and they just didn't want to let go on their own. So it took quite a bit of actual force to kind of get the decal off the backing, which I thought might tear it, but surprisingly it didn't. Used some microsol and microset on them, and laid down pretty good. So I thought, okay, well, we'll see how it goes. And when I started decaling it up, they actually came out pretty decent. How well you can see this. but like this top wing here,
Mhm.
they
Oh,
laid down. They laid down really nice, and of course this has got raised markings on them, and the proportions on the decals are actually pretty close, and they laid down pretty good, and it ended up conforming pretty well to it with the microsol microset. You can barely see any of the film on it. There's like the bottom wing there, and then the fuselage. Like here's the tail. You can see a little bit of yellowing because it's on the white.
Mm-hmm.
But then here's your fuselage stuff. There we go, and it laid down pretty nice.
The white around the Indian head looks really good.
Yeah, it came out surprisingly well, and the nothing tore, nothing curled up on me. Um, the decals, especially considering these decals are 70 years old.
Yeah, no kidding.
The decals are nice. They're a little transparent, and if it had been on certain colors, probably would have been a little more challenged. But being on the silver and the chrome yellow of the wing, it ended up being okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I was pretty impressed. I did have a short, how well you can see this or not. One of the bomb racks was short shot.
Oh,
One of my bombs is hanging by one shackle instead of two, or
okay.
one attachment point, because that one was short shot. Um, and then I actually hand painted the prop with the tricolor tips. I couldn't get the prop shaft to spin very well with the way it's set up.
Mm-hmm.
But I did detail the engine out, and I left the cowling so I could take it off
Oh, okay.
like that, and then just put the prop.
Nice.
Yeah, so I can do a little bit with it. Now, as far as the movable control surfaces, a few of them can wiggle a little bit still, but because of the extra paint and the tightness of some of these assembly points, they don't really quite move all that well. The engineering of them, like I said before, is not, it's not up to like monogram movable surface engineering.
Right.
But aside from of course, I can see all the blemishes and the paint job on here, because I know every place I've been touching it, stick fingerprints on it. But overall, it's not terrible. Would I build it again? Maybe try a better way of doing it.
I might try a different kit than the Aurora.
Yeah, I've got a Matchbox 7 scale one, and Matchbox does a pretty good job with how they do their biplanes. So I'll definitely build that one. It's an SBC-4,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm going to give that one a whirl, and let's see how that one comes out, because they're known for having better biplane engineering on their construction. So
Yeah.
but I mean, it's cool because it's the pre-war, um, the bright colors from the interwar marking, the
Mm-hmm.
chrome yellow wings and the colored tails and stuff.
There's always something about the yellow wings I liked.
Yeah,
It was just like it's so classic, kind of Art Deco.
yeah, yeah. Just kind of when you see the chrome wings or the chrome yellow wings, it always just it instantly takes you to the 30s. And so overall, I'm not too happy with what it took to get here, but the finished model's not too bad.
I'm going to bring some of Roy's pictures on here so we can show them.
Yeah. So the viewer was wanting to get involved with the build challenge, so he built his and sent his pictures.
He got his decals to work pretty well, it looks like.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder if his were the original decals, or if he reprinted them. But he did a nice job of rigging it too.
Yeah, he did. He really did.
I was hoping to rig mine, but yeah, no, that didn't quite happen.
I thought about it too, and I just thought no. And then
I did like the way he did the antenna.
It looks really nice.
Yeah, because the antenna does from the two wingtips. It doesn't go straight back to the tail. It goes back. Those two meet, and then it goes to the tail. So it's kind of a Y shape.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I think seeing the original one, there's like an insulator there that splits them.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's you did a nice job on that.
Yeah,
the cockpit looks good.
Yeah, those may be the original decals. Yeah, the cockpit was nice. For the time period, and of course, what you can see through these things. That's always the other part of it. Everyone gets all googly over how detailed a cockpit is on modern kits and stuff, but hell, most of the time you can't see any of that stuff.
I know, right?
Huh. Now it looks like he's got his wheels splayed a little bit.
Yeah.
Got some pretty heavy camber on them.
He had a black prop. I don't know when they went to black props. That was after the war, wasn't it? Started?
No, yeah, after the war started. I think they went to the black props when you started seeing them go into camouflaged aircraft. And
yeah.
So they went to the overall gray, then they went to the blue gray on top of gray. Right on that time period where they went to the black props. They still kept the tricolor tips for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually the tips just went to yellow.
Well,
the props were just polished aluminum. And the fuselage, incidentally, on a lot of people think of these as bare metal aircraft, but they're not. They're actually aluminum paint.
Mm-hmm.
The Navy painted them aluminum. Is JM bagging on naval aviators again?
Yeah, I see that. He's probably right.
Yeah, anybody can land on a 10,000-foot runway. but it takes a couple Navy guys to put the two together, put two airplanes together in midair, have a mate, and then eject four.
I was watching that. I'm going, okay, did they punch out? They had to, and yeah, there was. All of a sudden, you saw the
four blooming parachutes, man.
It's
The underside guys are so lucky too that the aircraft is just, even though they were stuck together, they was just cocked over just enough to get clearance to the cockpit for the other guys to be able to get out, man. I mean, when I first saw it, I didn't even look at it for a couple of days until I started seeing it showing up on like legit channels that I watch. Because at first when I saw it, I thought it was just some AI BS.
Right, right.
Yeah, because I'm like, oh yeah, right, like that's really going to happen. But hell, sure enough, um, that was real, and I'm sure some guys are going to be, already have gotten their ass chewed for that one.
Oh yeah. And then, watching them thinking, okay, are they going to get enough space away from the aircraft when it crashes? I kept,
Yeah. Well, and then the next concern was you got two aircraft crashing with all the fire and stuff going on, and here's four parachutes going down. And I was like, because they're so low to the ground when that happened, I thought,
right.
they were able to get good shoots, but that somebody was going to land in the fireball.
That's what I thought. I thought for
Yeah,
sure, they escaped that and they end up in the
yeah,
fire.
because that's happened. Guy
Yeah.
gets a good shoot and ends up landing in the burning wreckage.
I think
But
that
yeah,
happened up in Edwards with one at
yeah,
one
these
time.
these guys these guys got lucky. It
Yeah.
just, I mean, and all four good shoots,
Yeah.
phenomenal. But
Yeah. It almost
overall,
did look AI. I mean, just don't tell me that the starfighters flying over the aircraft carrier is fake.
yeah, yeah. It's, yeah, I know there was some wacky test stuff. You mean like they actually did fly a Mustang off of an aircraft carrier.
I know.
There was an attempt at navalizing the P-51, and
And a
they did,
P-38.
they did land them on the carrier. There's even C-130s that were launched off of a carrier, a U-2. They launched U-2s off of carriers, so they did do a lot of wacky stuff. But all this AI stuff is just like so much of the feed now is just AI garbage.
I get so sick at these AI things. They got right now. It just seems inundated with the history of model making. These AI programs,
Yeah.
and they're so bad. Max is the one that really did a great job on all those histories of the different model companies.
Well, hell, they're probably all ripping his videos off.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
you can tell it's AI when they show, the factories and they're making shoes and they're talking about
Yeah.
making, airplanes.
Yeah. Yeah. You see some kid, putting together, stick and tissue plane, and it's like an Aurora, the Aurora factory. It's like, yeah, no.
Exactly. It's like, oh my God, this is so terrible.
Yeah.
But well, what's our next build going to be? We got to do another one now, something easier.
First trap was a self-loading baggage and a C2CO2.
What's is it funny me?
Yeah, GM's talking about when he
Oh, okay.
when he went on board a carrier with the C2. That's the Greyhound, the onboard delivery
Yes, yes.
aircraft. Thought we crashed into the deck. Yeah. How many teeth got rattled loose there, JM?
Oh my God, that's too funny.
Yeah. Yeah, you go back and forth, all the time between Air Force and Navy and Marines as to who's the better pilots for various different reasons. But
Oh yeah.
There's great pilots in all the services, and there's crappy pilots in all the services.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. Doesn't matter.
Overall, yeah, I'm okay with this build. It'll be a good shelf sitter for sure. It'll look good.
I like it sitting with my other couple. Well, that one I got from you, my the RAF,
The swordfish.
the swordfish.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a pain in the ass too, but it looks good on the shelf. This one looks. I have this one next to it, so they look good.
Wasn't the swordfish on floats too?
Yes, and
Yeah.
nothing lined up.
Yeah. Well, that I think again is because that version of the kit was a SMER kit, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and that was originally Was it Art? Was it Art? No, it wasn't Artiplast. It was a British. The British company had it. They went under. Then they went to Artiplast, and Artiplast sold it to Smurr. So by the time the molding of your kit, it's pretty moved. It's moved around a few times, and I'm going to guess that the molds probably weren't kept up too well. And Smurr's not known for the quality of their plastic either.
Yeah, it looks good where it's at. Don't touch it because I'm afraid something's going to fall off it.
Yeah.
So, but
yeah. So as far as
what the compliments, JM.
What the next one is,
we were talking about. We both got the Corsairs now from Aurora.
Yeah, we both got the A7 Corsairs from Aurora.
Yep. And then I got the
Catalina.
Catalina coming.
We got the Catalinas. I don't know. The Catalina might be a little too close to biplane with all the parasol wing and the struts holding it up. I think I might want to stay away from that for a little while.
A nice little A7 might be okay.
Yeah, the A7's.
Oh, the other thing, I got the Aurora's F8 Crusader. I mean the A8.
The F8 Crusader.
Yeah, the Crusader, the gunfighter.
Yeah,
last gunfighter.
Yeah, I don't have that kit.
Oh, I thought you did.
No.
Well, I've got the one I'm going to give you. That's just the parts in the box.
Okay. Yeah, that
doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, no, that one I don't have one of those yet.
I've never built that one before, so I was kind of looking forward to making that one. Or we got the F4 F100 110.
Yeah, that one I definitely don't have. That one. Trying to think what else. No.
Well, I got a whole bunch of Aurora kits now, so I know we got extra.
Yeah.
We got kits. Just say so a lot of them are the World War I kits, and they're all biplanes.
What about on the on Monogram? Do you have a TBF?
Yeah, I built one. I don't have a second one. I got a Helldiver.
You got the Monogram Helldiver?
I got the Monogram Helldiver.
All right, let's do that one. That'll be
okay.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, no, that sounds good. I love the Helldiver. That's a cool plane.
Yeah, because I built one of those when I was a kid, so I'm relatively familiar with the kit. And it's only got one wing, and it drops bomb. So
all right, we'll do the Helldiver. That sounds like a great plan.
Yeah, I think that would be a good one.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
good. Well,
it doesn't look like we got too many viewers. We still got John hanging around here. Any questions?
John's working on F-86D.
Oh yeah, the one for his buddy.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Aurora made an F-86D, didn't they?
Yeah.
I got the Monogram one.
Yeah, that one I think is their own molding. It's not one they converted.
Okay.
Yeah, the Monogram converted stuff, jet wise, were some of the later ones. Like the A7 Corsair, the F111.
Yep.
Those were all once Monogram got the molds, they gussied them up a bit.
I made a dual build I had the Monogram Corsair, and then I had the Revell repop of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the fact that Revell made a more detailed cockpit. They actually made they made the little cockpit area.
Oh yeah,
just the pilot stuck to the seat.
Yeah, the peg on his back stuck to the. Yeah. But did they take away the operating features though on it when Revell did that?
No, they were there, but I couldn't get them to work right for
Yeah,
the. It just didn't work the same way as I remember the monograms. And the monogram kit that I made was a 3 pop. It wasn't the one of the originals. And I remember the original one that I made in high school worked great.
yeah,
I got everything to work on those.
yeah. I think you're good with the monograms up through the 70s white boxes. After that, the fit and finish is not quite so good. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I've got a Helldiver I can build, but I'll double check.
Okay.
Um, but any one of the those Navy aircraft. So there's the Helldiver, there's the Dauntless, the Corsair, which you just did.
Well, I've got a couple Dauntlesses here. I had 4 of them, and I
Okay.
made one into A24,
Okay.
and just because I wanted one. So I do
Okay.
have Dauntless.
Okay.
I've got the Revell Pro Modeler Helldiver. Is that just a updated monogram?
No, that's a different kit.
Okay. I was wondering if they updated that one.
No, that's a completely different kit.
Okay. That one looks like it's going to take a little while to build.
Yeah, yeah. That's a very different kit with a lot of detail parts and stuff. I think it even may have came with some photo etch too.
Yes, it does. It's
Yeah,
got
so
photo etch.
that's a very different kit.
Okay.
Let me double check and make sure I got a monogram helmet. I know I've got my original issue one, but I think I've got a later issue one that I can use. Otherwise, the Dauntless, I've got a couple of Dauntlesses I could build too.
I've got all of the monogram heavy bombers.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have any of those.
If we want to go down that road
Yeah, I don't
at
want to
some
go
point,
Yeah, I don't want to go that big yet.
unless I have to make space for them.
Yeah.
But I do have this that I do want to do at some point. I don't know if I can.
Oh, the wild catfish.
Yeah, the Wildcat.
Is that in
Had to
quarter
get
scale?
that. Yeah, it's quarter scale.
Interesting.
It's like, and I also got to go with it. I got the Devastator float
That's a
plane.
big
too.
ass box for that thing, man.
I know, right? Because you open it up, it's just a 148 scale Wildcat. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like,
You know what's funny was that when I did that the review the Hawk U2,
yeah.
right? The chrome one was in that giant box, right? I was like,
I know, I saw that.
but it's the exact same sprues as the smaller box. Dollar or something, make people think that it's.
And they're going to think they're getting more.
Yeah. I was a little bit. Yeah, I was like, I opened them up and I'm like, wait, that's the same sprue. Yeah.
Well, I got the 2 Aurora F-111s. I made the Navy. I got the Air Force one.
Yeah.
The Air Force One box is twice as big as the Navy box was. Same kit.
Well, I think that was the change in the boxing style. I think
Was it?
Yeah,
Okay.
because the Navy one was the 60s box, and the Air Force one you got, I think, is the 70s box. And so I think that's a box. That's the boxing style change as opposed to a specific. Hey, let's mess with people. But
I'm going to answer John here quick. If I could spell right.
yeah,
That's really cool. Yeah, I know. I've thought about doing that, down some of those raised insignia things that Aurora, and I think Hawk did it too, didn't they? Didn't they also
Uh,
for a while make the raised?
They all did. Actually, Hawk on some of their kits actually had engraved markings.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Engraved?
yeah,
Wow. Well, I suppose we could probably call this an end here, buddy. It's we've been on here for a little, almost an hour, a little over an hour. Not bad.
yeah. So, well, for those of you that showed up, John and Mandy and Amanda,
Amanda, yep.
somebody else. Thanks for coming and checking it out. And this will get posted on our channels, our regular channels.
Yep.
And,
Worked all of our bugs out of this one. The next one will
yeah,
go a lot better.
yeah. Well, I think YouTube keeps changing some of the way things are done as well too. When I'm not live streaming very much, but I want to live stream a little bit more, but they keep moving the bar on how things are done. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's why I always say I have amazing Amanda to figure that stuff out for me.
yeah. I got one of those too. Yeah, if she ever figures out.
Multitasking Mandy.
Yeah, well, she figures out, I'm not the greatest fetch in the world, and decides to hit the bricks, then that's the end of my channel because I don't know how to do it. So yeah, just got. Oh yeah, yeah. You're absolutely right. Yep. Because I want the next video to get posted.
There you go.
Got to keep her happy.
There you go.
So, no more videos.
All right.
Alrighty, sir. Well, great job on your kit.
Great job on yours too. Thanks everybody. It was fun. I mean, it was interesting to build. It really was. And so I'm looking forward to the next one to go a little easier.
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Well, you can always have fun with the old Navy aircraft.
Yeah. Well, you can never go wrong with Monogram Navy. That's for sure.
No. They to me they set the standard.
Yeah. Alrighty, guys.
Okay.
Have yourself a great rest of your day, and
Yes.
we'll see you in the next videos.
All right. Everybody take care now.